People, this is a voice note by Damion Crawford. Wanna listen it and tell me what you think in the comment. To me, this is one of the most accurate and detailed description of how the coronavirus works. And based on my research, it aligned with it. His position is that he's not going to take the vaccine. And what are your takes? I don't see anything wrong with what he says. He's not necessarily discouraging anyone not to take the vaccine, but I mean, this is a complete explanation of how the COVID-19 virus works. And probably this is the most factual information you will hear since COVID-19 has started.
Blessed love, Willie at it. This is March 28, 2021. Family, I'm going to do my best to make the presentation. I'm very Jamaican, and as much as I possibly can make it understandable for all of we. Because I did make a statement and say I'm not going to talk about coronavirus and vaccine and all of them things again, because I think I say enough from last year, March, until January this year, February this year, and I decided to say I'm not going to say no more because I realize a lot of people just give up. Them not care. Them just know say if they get the vaccine in life I go better. So them are gonna just take the vaccine because they can't bother with what is potentially going to come. Them fears of what government might do if them don't take the vaccine, them fear of losing them job if them not take the vaccine, them fear of can't jump on a plane and go look for them family if they don't take the vaccine. So many people are taking the vaccine really and truly, not because them really believe say it's going to do nothing for them, but because them know say if them don't take it, it might come back and haunt them and restrict them and confine them from doing things them what they want to do, like travel, like go about them business, like all that, go back to life as it was before COVID-19. So it's really fear factor that is driving these vaccines based on the little conversations I've had with people. And then you have some people who just can't bother and just nonchalant and just want to get this thing over with and move on. Them have them own, when I talk to them have them own beliefs, but them no bother, them can't bother to stand up on what them believe, because at the end of the day, them can't fight the system and the system bigger than them and blah blah blah. The reason why I may come out and say something about this whole thing is because me here, the Prime Minister said that they are bringing in Moderna into the country, 20,000 doses. When me hear the name, my body cringe. I say, Lord, AstraZeneca was bad and not so bad, but Moderna, Pfizer next. Me hear my talk about Sinovac. So let me try and help and understand what really are going on with this whole thing with coronavirus. First of all, let me explain to you where this whole thing come from. If we did follow the thing from last year, and I realized when the whole studies starting in China and everything, that particular strain of coronavirus is an offshoot of H1N1 swine flu. The PCR tests that they had designed using to establish if people were positive or negative for COVID was an indicator that is used for one of the variants of H1N1. Let me just make that very clear. There was no specific designed material, genetic code to make it possible for them to distinguish between SARS, MERS-CoV, or MERS-CoV-2, which is COVID-19. Yeah, all of these things are variants of the H1N1 influenza A type virus. That is the basic foundation block for what is going on now. One of the main reasons from back then why plenty of people did think this thing was man-made, and very learned people were beginning to suspect that this thing is not something that evolved in nature, is because when you look at the infectious rate or the infection rate or how fast H1N1 infects somebody versus how COVID-19 was doing it, listen this carefully. So if one fowl lay 2 eggs, chances are the quality of the egg and the makeup of the egg, I don't want to use no fancy term, are going to be similar between the 2 eggs. You understand? One cock cheddar, she spit out 2 eggs. Chances are the eggs are going to be very similar. This is the case with H1N1 or influenza A type coronaviruses. What happened is that, let us say that it takes 3 days for H1N1 to fully infect a human being. COVID, which is sharing the same almost identical structure as H1N1, was infecting an entire human being in 3 hours. So scientists could not understand how it is that COVID-19 and H1N1 share similar construct with just a few fragments of changes have this dramatic infectious rate. How it moves so fast and it and H1N1 are basically the same thing. So even with current PCR testing right now, which have gotten a little bit more specific in design, is really and truly the baseline against H1N1 and its variants that it is used to determine if people are COVID positive or not. And that is part of the reason why you have so much people who have false positive readings, because even though they may have a variant of a coronavirus in them, it might not be COVID-19, but it will still trigger a positive or a true on the PCR test. Now, that is why WHO is always encouraging people that if you have certain strains as a result of the PCR test that is inconclusive, you need to send it to them for further testing. But how many countries can afford to be sending off shipments of these vials or specimens to WHO to get it tested so the results can come back and the timeline it going to take? So right now, as soon as if you have the common cold like a regular flu like you'd have long before nobody know nothing about COVID, chances are if you take the PCR test, it will come back true. But it's not necessarily COVID you have. And what it also means is that not because it is positive means the coronavirus that is inside of you is active, meaning virulent, meaning it can cause replication in your body. So let me explain, why this whole COVID thing is affecting us the way it's affecting us. So basically, what this virus do when it go inside your body, and because it is airborne, the place where it is going to attack first is your lungs, because you're breathing it in. So it go through your nose and your mouth and shot go straight to your lungs. And wait, though, inside of your lungs, you have some little raspberry looking thing on the inside of your lungs that is called alveoli. And what those things do is that those little raspberry looking organs, them smaller than sun grain, millions of them lying inside of your lungs, and them take the oxygen that come in through breathing and puts it into your bloodstream. Now what happens when the coronavirus do is that when it hit the inside of your lungs, it start to replicate, multiply rapid. And the rapid replication of the coronavirus inside of your lungs produces something where we would have called mucus. Now, if you really study anything at all to do with health, you will know that one of the number one killers of us human beings is mucus. You realize that when you're sick, when you get a cut, we call it pus, but it's mucus. When you're cold and you cough, and you see the cold change color from yellow to orange to all kind of thing. You talk about infection. It's all mucus. Mucus is what breeds infection. So when the coronavirus go down in your lungs and latch on and start to multiply at a rapid rate, it start to block off the alveoli from passing oxygen that you breathe into your bloodstream, and that is how you start to get pneumonia type conditions or respiratory challenges. You can't breathe. It causes a convulsing, which is the coughing. Because it block off the organs from transferring oxygen into your bloodstream. Now, you know that oxygen is essential to life. So therefore, people who have diabetes, heart condition, all of them, blood hypertension, all of these things are going to get, multiply because your body is being starved of oxygen. And that really are gone. Your blood becomes low in oxygen to supply the process of energy in the various organs and cells of your body. So you start to get muscle fatigue, your body start to feel lethargic, you start to have headache because the brain is also being starved of oxygen. This is what COVID does to the body. It replicates fast, block off the inlet valve, them will let in air. It's just like a mechanic will understand this perfect when you talk about inlet valve. You understand? You need air for going inside of the cylinder head, for combust with the gas, with spark of fire, boom, and generate energy. Same thing are going in our lungs. Air need for coming through our lungs, for enter our bloodstream, for circulate through our body, for create, boom, explosion, so we have energy. That is what COVID stops from happening. And this is the reason why I will not stop saying that steaming with menthol crystals or citric acid based particles like lime or orange peel and these things help with blocking COVID-19 from replicating as fast as it would under normal conditions in our trachea, in our lungs, in our nasal cavities to the back of the throat. You understand? Up to December, WHO had that steaming is one of the things that can help to prevent the adverse effects of COVID-19. Because the vaccine is now on the world stage, them take it off of them website and say there is inconclusive evidence that steaming does anything. And, we should all just get vaccinated. Well, here is my thing. My issue with the vaccination process, with this whole mRNA, new way of vaccinating people. Let me explain mRNA in a Jamaican terms. You understand? Picture one egg. Picture you crack one egg and throw it in your frying pan. Almost every Jamaican do that. You gotta have the egg yolk and then the egg white will surround the yolk. You see me? So the yolk are gonna be in the middle. The egg white are gonna surround the yolk in the middle. Now, picture that being our cells in our bodies. The egg yolk is the nucleus, which part with DNA there. It have everything about why our skin dark, we hair grow long, why do we have the color we eye, why our fingernail grow so fast, why we teeth yellow, chalky, white or solid. DNA is what holds the volumes of information as to why we were made the way we were made. Very sensitive thing. You see me? All right, fine. So the yolk is the nucleus of that cell. We have billions of cells that make us up. You understand me? Yeah. When them inject the mRNA come in like one little, it's like when you blow bubbles with the soap and you go so and the bubbles take off. The mRNA is inside of one little oily bubble where them injecting the vaccine and it goes straight in our cells. And what it do is that the mRNA is carrying in it some information that scientists code. Like when you write computer language to tell the computer to do this, it's like when you type on your computer 2 plus 2 equal 4 and you press 2 on the keyboard, then you press the plus sign, then you press 2 again, then you go enter and it gives a result. Then put that 2 plus 2, the information inside of the little oily bubble where them injecting our body. But it's not 2 plus 2, it's instructions to tell our nucleus to reproduce this particular protein. Where you talk about spike protein? Yeah, one protein, one little something where it depend the surface of the coronavirus, them inject a variant of it inside a way to tell our nucleus. If you say, look, you see that something here? I want you to replicate it. You see me? So when it get injected in our cells, it pass into a nucleus. The nucleus read the message and say, oh, this is what I'm do. Push it out back in something called cytoplasm, which is the white part of the egg now. That are the outer part of the cell, cytoplasm. Yeah. And when it go back in the cytoplasm, the white part of the egg, the message is going, the servants them will operate in the outer part of the realm. So it's like we cell come in like a factory. So the factory of all of the machine them in the white part of the egg. You see me I say? The outer part. In the officer, which are the administrator and the CEO and the secretary and the treasurer there. The message have to go into the office first, which is the egg yolk. You see me? And them read it and say, oh, this you want to make out of my factory. All right, can't back go on that factory, go get the foreman for him start the process. And that's what mRNA do. So the mRNA now goes back to the cytoplasm because unlike DNA can't enter the cytoplasm. So that's why you have a mRNA. A hit at the messenger. It carry the message in and carry the message out. So when it come back out of the nucleus, I'm going to tell the cytoplasm, say, yo, me get permission from the nucleus for you replicate this. And it start to multiply a variant of COVID-19 in our body. What that's supposed to do now is wake up with Waxan Canal. Me know every Jamaican know about Waxan Canal. Waxan Canal have to do with white blood cells. T cells or B cells. Them cells are JDF in our body. Anything come across the border, them rally up and start bust shot. Me don't know you, them shoot first and ask questions later. That is what white blood cells are all about. They fight off infection, viruses and all kind of bacteria out of our bodies. So that thing with them inject in our body and tell our body, say, look, you need to make millions and millions and millions of this. It is a variant of COVID, but it is not a COVID that is going to cause us to become ill. It can just float around our body looking like the actual real COVID-19. And what it's supposed to do is trick our body into producing JDF soldiers to come fight it. So the more JDF we rally up in our body now, thinking that this thing will float around is a wicked, evil demon, is not really wicked and evil. All it really doing is telling the body to mass produce JDF soldiers on the battlefield. So when the actual COVID-19 come in our body from somebody who were infected, our body would have had enough something called antigens to fight it. You understand? Now, here is the reason why I am not a part of or with this vaccine mRNA technology. We do not know exactly when the replication process will ever stop. Yes, it is said by scientists that the messenger RNA with them injecting away after 72 hours, it dead, and the enzymes in our body clean it out. But the replication process would have already begun. So when you go up on WHO, CDC website, or even the FDA, all of them are all saying, we do not know. This is the legal way of how they protect themselves against lawsuit or litigation action that can come against them if people get sick from these viruses. You understand? We do not know. So if you ask them, when will the replication process stop? We do not know. Will it protect against other kind of? We do not know. But all I want to tell you is that the potential benefit of taking the vaccine outweighs the risks. If you go on them website, this is all you're going to see. We have never, as a people in this world, even when we had the Spanish flu, which is still H1N1, in 1918, they were able to answer specific questions about the vaccine that was being administered then. This is the first time in human history we are being pushed by even legal class action to take this vaccine with so many question signs around it. It has never been used in our history before, where they are injecting synthetic material in our body and not give our bodies instruction to carry out specific tasks. Let me expand on specific tasks. The mRNA with them injecting our body will only motivate our body to create a particular viral response to the spike protein that is reticent or that is similar, sorry for the big word, that is similar to the COVID vaccine virus. You understand? Meaning, because we are producing so much of this one particular type of a response to fight that particular type of virus, what happens when our bodies is infected with other kinds of virus, even in the same coronavirus family? Our bodies will probably not be able to respond, which is why now this whole thing of the different strains of COVID vaccine is becoming such a big thing, and it is causing a mayhem in America, in South America, in Brazil, because the variants are not truly being held at bay with the version of the vaccines which we are now using, because they are very specific. Each spike protein have a specific design. One of them look like body head, one of them look like umbrella, one next one look like one fruit. Yeah, one passion fruit. You see what I say? Them and the program where they write for replicate this in our body will only target the design where them tell it to target. So any other variant coming in our body can pass by the soldier them and infiltrate the camp. And this is the problem with mRNA virus, where our natural immune system is not being left alone to truly develop a strategy and a defense mechanism against all the variants of coronavirus like it has been doing for decades. Every time you catch influenza or flu, your body learned what they were and mapped and remembered how they fought it, and that's why we develop immunity against it. That is why the vaccine in Cuba, and even the vaccine when you Sinopharm in China, they basically use the old-time tradition of killing the actual coronavirus that can't replicate in our body. Do them synthetic sitting, inject it in our body and allow our immune system to recognize it as a foreign agent. And say, oh, really? And build up a defense to kill it. That's why no matter what, the tell us say, the best prevention against COVID-19 is a strong immune system. That's why I keep on encouraging, take on vitamin C. Try to go up on a good diet of vegetables and fruits. Try to steam and using the mental crystals. Anything for boost on your immune system. Do it. Take on multivitamins, whatever. Let your immune systems build, because it are the ultimate defense. You understand? There's a whole heap of things many even want to truly get into right now. But let me tell you, me personally, I'm not taking any mRNA vaccine in my body. You understand? Yeah, I'm not doing it. I can't tell you guys to do it or not to do it. I'm just sharing the facts as it is. There's too much unknowns that are questions that are still 5 years from now, will my body still be producing these spike proteins? After COVID, probably long gone and forgotten, because the whole world now vaccinated. So nobody now test nobody again. Whether we have it or not, nobody now got business, because all the world is now vaccinated. Therefore, there is no more coronavirus. Really? They're going to treat it like the regular seasonal influenza where people catch during this time of year. It go pass, blah, blah, blah. Take your flu shot, da, 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 da. Them still don't know. Too many I don't knows. You understand? Them are going to bring in Johnson & Johnson, even worse. Let me tell you one last piece of information. You see the sitting where them tell you says a oily bubble where them put in the information and have to inject in our body. They have to use genetic material in order for our bodies to recognize it. They're called hosts or carriers. You know what some of these things are? Dead human fetus cells or monkey cells in the case of AstraZeneca from India. You understand? So, to be honest, me can't tell you whether having the cells of a dead human being from 1970 or having the cells from a dead chimpanzee from when being injected in me will do anything to me. I don't know. Honestly, that is one of the I don't know, so they don't know either. But because they're saying they have used dead cells of fetuses and animals with other vaccines and there is no adverse reaction, this should be okay too. Look, the fact that you are injecting this thing directly into my cell, into the nucleus of my cells, is a total different ball game. You understand? Many of them not going to get into the politics of all of this thing. Right? Because I understand, say to some extent, Andrew Holness's hands are tied. Jamaica is not really owned by Jamaicans. Jamaicans are owned by the people we are indebted to. And sadly, the people we are indebted to dictate terms and conditions for our country. So, and unlike Andrew can say, yo, hold your vaccine, I'm not ready for that yet. And I like say we can produce it. And if we try to take any amount from Cuba, America can simply say we are aiding and abetting a communist nation that is against human rights and all kind of thing, which is what Bill Gates is proposing right now, because Cuba is producing their version of the vaccine. And their version is being done like the old-fashioned way. So, you rough out the street. All I can say is my family, trust God and live. Yeah? Blessed.